3 campus safety scares in 3 weeks, all near the media school. We'll tell you what happened and what the building staff is doing to keep students and faculty safe. Also ahead,
a big change at IUPD. The first female police chief is out, leaving more questions than answers. We bring you the latest on what we know.
Plus, no tents and no shelters. That's the new city policy for public parks. We'll tell you how that's affecting the homeless population here in Bloomington. IU NewsNet starts now.
welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Kara Adams.
And I'm Ryan Costello. There's growing concerns about safety here at Franklin Hall. IU Media School just released a safety advisory to students and faculty after there were safety concerns in as many weeks. In separate instances, 2 men entered the media school commons and began exhibiting strange behavior. One of them began to take off his clothes, and the other is suspected of stalking. 2 days prior, 2 women told police they were chased at knife point by a man near the sample gates. And last fall, a man entered the sewers making threats and forcing a media school lockdown. In all cases, the suspects were believed to be people experiencing homelessness. Building manager Mike Grace says it's difficult to predict because different situations require different measures. He has installed new door stoppers on all media school doors for the shelter in place.
They would have more grip, and the more I thought about them for classrooms, I also thought they might be great from a safety standpoint when and if there is an incident that happens, you could use them to wedge under the door and kind of barricade the door.
Grace says because Franklin Hall is a public building, there are limitations on locking main entrances. The new security advisory issued by email says if you see anything suspicious, call 911 immediately.
The IU Police Department's first woman chief of police is no longer there, and IU is not saying why. We do know there is a new interim chief. Callie Lichter joins us with more.
Thanks, guys. Questions are left unanswered after Lisa's staff bio was pulled from the department's website last week. In a statement to IU NewsNet Friday, the university said that they do not comment on personnel matters. IUPD did confirm in a call that Deputy Superintendent Brad Safer stepped in as interim chief. Lisa became IU's first female chief of police in March 2019. The department is one of hundreds participating in the 30 by 30 challenge, looking to grow the number of female officers in the force. We have filed a records request and are still waiting to hear back. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Callie. Finding a safe and affordable place to call home in Bloomington is not as easy as it sounds, and it certainly is true this semester. IU NewsNet's Ashton Hackman joins us in studio with that story. Ashton?
It's no secret that finding off-campus housing that is not only affordable, let alone up to standard, is stressful for many students. For 2 IU students, housing headaches continued even after move-in.
There was stains all over the carpet, and it looked like there was a flood.
When junior Sarah Cunningham moved into her 1-bedroom house this school year, what she saw isn't what she thought she signed up for.
The apartment property kind of played it off that there was a leakage, and they tried to repair the ceiling walls, and they just didn't do a very good job, and there was just mold all around the sides, and it was very stuffy. The air conditioning wasn't working.
Mold chipping away at the wooden trim, the bottom of the shower moldy and covered in permanent stains. She knew she wouldn't be living there.
So we originally moved everything into the apartment, and I was with my dad, and then he was just like, I just don't think you can live here.
Cunningham was able to find a new option and quickly. But for another IU student eager for her first year off campus, her apartment wasn't finished by move-in day.
So this isn't your actual apartment?
So getting closer to move-in day, I was really excited to move into my apartment, and I actually got an email and found out that my official apartment is not ready, and I had to move into a temporary apartment for the first month or so of school.
And the ongoing construction raises another problem.
So I was actually out leaving to go to class, and I saw that I had a flat tire. There was a screw in it, and there have actually been quite a few screws just laying around the parking garage here.
With more freshmen admitted to IU each year, the housing headache is only certain to swollen.
Cunningham declined to give the name of the leasing company so they could be reached for this story, telling me she remains in ongoing legal action to terminate the contract she signed last year.
Thanks, Ashton. For the 3rd time in a row, IU's Bloomington campus has set an enrollment record. Across all of IU campuses, nearly 22,000 undergraduate and graduate students were admitted to the university this academic year. 10,000 new students were admitted to the Bloomington campus, and the university also touted a 5% increase in the number of students of color, who now make up 30% of the student body. One first-year student says the campus atmosphere is what brought her to Bloomington.
The campus is one of the most gorgeous ones that I've been to. The downtown is so close, so it's really a great place for students to study, interact, and do things off campus without feeling like you're in a whole new world.
The university's online program, IU Online, also saw growth from last year. Just over half of the IU students are enrolled in at least one online class. Finding a place for all of those incoming freshmen to live in is tougher than usual. That's because one of the largest dorms on campus is out of commission. There's a massive construction project underway at Wright Quad. IU NewsNet's Noel Ferry is looking into where those displaced students are going. Noel?
Yeah, guys, I'm here at Eigenman Hall at Indiana University Bloomington's campus, where plenty of freshman students are being forced to live in the lounges of the hall rather than the dorms themselves. Now, the reason for this, a $53 million construction plan on Wright Quadrangle, one of the largest dorms on campus. It won't be back open until 2025, and in the meantime, all the rest of the dorms on campus are being crowded with this record-sized freshman class. About 10,000 new students coming to IU this year. Now, what this means is not only are the dorms crowded, but a lack of a central neighborhood dining hall. Students are having to go to the new dining hall, the Book Market Eatery at Wells Library, but still not necessarily as close as Wright would be to them. Some students are not very appreciative of the overcrowding and the inconvenience here at Eigenman.
But we don't have a lounge area because they were saving it for people to come in who didn't have housing, which is kind of rough because we need the space to study, and our hallways are obviously everyone's running through and you can't study in your dorms, and it's very crowded all the time.
As the year goes on, students hope that Indiana University will find them a place to live so they no longer have to live in the lounges here at Eigenman Hall and into a better living situation overall. For IU NewsNet, I'm Noel Ferry. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Noel. While undergrads face a housing squeeze, graduate students may soon have a new housing option on campus at the home of the old Poplars building. The university introduced the proposed $81 million project to the IU Board of Trustees for approval. The development would result in a 6-story housing facility featuring nearly 160 units. Rentals will be prioritized for IU graduate students and faculty. The original Poplars building was built in 1964 and demolished last year because of maintenance issues.
When we come back, the red zone is the time period in fall semester when college students are most at risk for sexual assault. We'll tell you the reported number of assaults on campus so far.
Plus, 3 Little 5 riders hit in 3 days. You'll hear the story of one of them and what law enforcement recommends to drivers and cyclists.
The red zone is known as the time period from the start of fall semester to Thanksgiving break, when students, particularly freshmen, are at a higher risk for sexual assault. This semester, there have been 4 reported sexual assaults on IU Bloomington's campus. Crime logs show a rape reported at Foster Quad on August 17th and a sexual battery reported at McNutt on August 30th. The crime log shows a sexual battery report at an unnamed dorm in Central neighborhood between mid and late August. And most recently, a rape was reported at Teeter on September 3rd, as well as several other incidents during that same time frame, including battery and strangulation, and no arrests have been made as of now. IU placed Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity on cease and desist September 1st for hazing. All organizational activities are suspended until further notice. The fraternity joins Kappa Sigma fraternity on cease and desist. That happened in mid-August. Alpha Phi Alpha is the first Greek letter fraternity established for African American men.
3 Little 500 bikers are still recovering physically and mentally this week. Each biker was hit by a vehicle in separate incidents over a 3-day period. All will recover, but it will take time. I have more on what one of the cyclists went through and what IUPD is doing to help. Hunter Jones rode in his first Little 500 just months ago. But just 2 days after classes started this semester, his parents got a scary call.
I'm their only child. Like, it was just kind of freaky. The week after they dropped me off, I, had some life-threatening accident.
Hunter, a member of Phi Kappa Psi's bike team, was on a solo bike ride around campus.
I was heading down North Jordan, made a right onto Law Lane, was riding, and then I saw somebody in a minivan pull out, make a left turn, and before I could really react or anything, I just kind of remember right before I hit the minivan, I flipped over.
Hunter blacked out and was disoriented. Luckily, a fraternity brother was walking back to class and saw him and went to the hospital with him.
I found out, a hole in my lung, 3 fractured ribs. I had skin burns all down my leg and face. Had a concussion, and 8 stitches in my arm. I had about a quarter-size hole in my arm.
Hunter was one of 3 Little 5 bikers who were involved in wrecks, sparking a renewed call for safety on the roads from the Bloomington community.
Safety is everybody's responsibility on the road, so cyclists should act as drivers on the road, and then vehicle drivers should treat them as such. So following all stop signs and traffic signals.
IUPD wants drivers to slow down and be extra cautious in a city known for cycling. One way IUPD is helping is by handing out free bike lights so cyclists can put it at the top of their bike and stay safe out there on the road. But for Hunter, this accident won't stop him from doing what he loves.
I haven't had a doubt in my mind since it happened. I'm riding. I want to ride. It's what I love to do.
The other cyclists injured are Connor Furlong and Jackie Figura. Their incidents happened on the corner of 2nd and High Street and North Baker Avenue. All 3 cyclists say they feel lucky to be alive.
With the start of the semester, campus buses have been packed, sometimes turning away riders. But students commuting from the College Mall area may have noticed a new route this semester, the 9 Limited. During COVID, it was temporarily suspended because of decreased demand, but now it's back, and officials say they hope the route will help reduce the high traffic riders face on the regular 9 route.
New and significant changes are underway in Bloomington that drastically affect the population experiencing homelessness. IU NewsNet's Joe Brennan joins us at Seminary Park with more.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at Seminary Park, which is one of the main areas here in Bloomington that is feeling the effects of the new policy surrounding tents and other closed structures. This new policy that prohibits the use of tents in public parks during daytime hours just went into effect over a week ago. Seminary Park, like many other parks in the Bloomington area, is a popular spot for the homeless population to eat, sleep, and set up camp. However, this new policy now drastically changes their day-to-day life, and some feel that it's unfair.
Yes, I think there should be tents in the park, but it should be limited. Certain parks are for certain things. This park, there's no swing set or swings or anything. It's a park for like recreation, recovery, and soul searching. Hunstable, like many other members of his community, feel as though certain parks are for certain members of the community. However, the Board of Park Commissioners deemed the tents a public health risk and a safety issue. Nonetheless, Seminary Park will continue to be a sanctuary of rehabilitation for those affected by homelessness. For IU NewsNet, I'm Joe Brennan. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Joe. IU was recently named one of the most friendly LGBTQ+ campuses in the nation. The campus has a ranking of 5 out of 5 stars from Campus Pride. Their percentage score ranged from 90 to 100 based on the reporting of its LGBTQ+ friendly features. The LGBTQ+ Cultural Center is a big reason why the campus scored so well. Despite the high ranking, students feel the score may have something to do with the city of Bloomington.
Overall, I would put IU pretty high. But I also think that a lot of that has to do with Bloomington being a really LGBTQ safe community.
Annual events like Pride Fest in Bloomington, the city and the campus both do their part to make the community LGBTQ+ friendly.
In sports, Ohio State is in the rearview mirror. We'll look ahead to this weekend's football matchup.
And we'll show you the kickoff to men's and women's soccer and tell you how the IU teams fare. IU NewsNet Sports coming up next.
Josh Bodie now joins us in studio to give us the latest on IU athletics. Josh, that football game last Saturday could have been worse.
It definitely could have been worse. And Indiana opened their football season last weekend against Ohio State. Although they lost by 3 scores, it was not as bad of a showing as some fans expected. The IU defense held Ohio State to just 23 points. The defensive backs were impressive, containing one of, if not the best wide receiver duo in college football. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka combined for just 36 yards. While the defense held strong, the offense struggled mightily. They used 2 different quarterbacks. Brendan Sorsby started, and Taven Jackson came in later. Tom Allen spoke after the game about the quarterback strategy for this week's game.
And our decision was to play them both in the first 2 games. So Sorsby started this week, Taven starts next week. And the guys know that. They knew that ahead of time.
With the Hoosiers taking on Indiana State this week, there should be some room for offensive improvement. Now over to the pitch, where Indiana men's soccer hosted the Adidas IU Credit Union Classic. On Friday, the Hoosiers took on another top 25 ranked team in Washington. The Huskies defense held strong, holding the Hoosiers scoreless. The only scoring was a goal in the 77th minute by Washington, and the Huskies won 1-0. The second game of the weekend went more in the Hoosiers' favor. The Seton Hall Pirates came to Bloomington, with Indiana winning 1-0. Sam Sarver provided the scoring for the Hoosiers, his first of the season, and an epic celebration with the Hoosier Army. Indiana plays just 1 game this week, traveling to Tampa to face South Florida. Women's soccer also enjoyed a weekend at home at Bill Armstrong Stadium. They stayed undefeated, picking up their 4th win of the season against Northern Illinois. Paige Weber was the standout again, putting 2 goals in the back of the net, her 4th and 5th goals of the season. The Hoosiers wrap up their non-con schedule on Sunday against Hanover. Now we'll send it out to California, where Indiana volleyball was not able to continue their momentum from their first 3 games. The tougher competition caught up to the Hoosiers. They went winless, losing 3-1 against Long Beach State and UCLA, and got swept against Washington. They will look to bounce back this weekend, playing Valpo, Lindenwood, and Austin Peay in Tennessee. That's it for Hoosier Sports for now. Indiana football playing on Friday night this week. Tom Allen, not a huge fan of that, says Friday night should be only for high school sports.
I know. We'll see how they do on that Friday night under the lights.
I think it's kind of fun to do something else.
Switch it up
yeah,
on the
I know.
schedule.
Make a little difference. Thanks, Josh. We have one more thing before we go.
There's something new in Bloomington that caters to adults who wish they had not given up on their childhood music lessons. IU alums Craig and Emily Davis recently opened a new music academy aimed at getting adults back into music lessons. After being around Bloomington for a couple years, they realized there was a need for another music academy in town. Their motto, "It's never too late," encourages those in their 20s to get involved in music again.
And I just quit and I regretted it. And so a couple years later, it dawned on me that there were adults out there that felt this regret or this guilt for not actually completing music lessons.
The Davis Academy offers group or individual lessons and even beginner lessons for those just starting their musical journey. Well, I mean, I've never taken music lessons, but I might have to start.
Yeah, I want to learn how to play the guitar because I was kind of good with the recorder, but like not really good. But I want to actually be able to use the guitar.
Maybe get back into it.
Yeah, maybe piano or something. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, that's it for our first IU NewsNet of the new semester. I'm Kara Adams.
And I'm Ryan Costello. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room and here in the studio. Thanks to them and thanks to you for watching. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IU NewsNet. Take care and we will see you next week.
All right, first one done.
Yeah.